Welcome back everyone. For today's video, I came across a blog post from 3 years ago, but I updated to 2025 on what is the best move you can possibly make, not according to the engine, but according to the database, cross-referencing all players in on Lichess. So the database that we're using is Lichess. That might change if we use chess.com, for example. The numbers are going to change. The average rating I took into account is from 1,000 to 1,400. So the winning rates are going to be different if we change these parameters, right? So an interesting fact is, for instance, the Sicilian. The Sicilian works really well at top levels. You might get a 53, 54% of winning rate with Sicilian, but at lower levels, the understanding of chess is much less. So you still have a very good winning rate with black, but you have less options. So to me, it's about the practicality of the opening, right? So for today, we're gonna check e4, d4, and c4 openings. Let's start with this one. Let's start with d4 openings, which is the most popular move after e4. So d4 has a 51% of winning rate. And what is the most common or the most popular response is going to be d5. Okay, we all know that. So what is the best winning rate you can have with white? c4. c4 is the queen's gambit. Now I'm going to put it here. What is the best winning rate? e6. You play e6. You can also, this is also playable, by the way. It's completely playable, but I have found that there is a lot of theory and a lot of things that you should know. So probably you can just play more simple e6, and later with ideas of developing your bishop. Let me show you, for example, here. Let's say white develops this knight. You can put it here, or even go something more slow, which is fine. Put your bishop here. Now white is gonna develop the other knight. You develop your knight. So now you can castle safely on this side of the board. And probably white would like to do the same. Now you can castle, strike. You can even strike in the center with a move such as c5 later, and put your knight here. And the same thing with white. So you develop your bishops and castle, and you just have a game. Okay. After the queen's gambit, what is the second most popular move? The London. And it's also the one that is offering the second highest winning rates with white, and also I think also with black. But let's analyze here. Okay, we get d4, right? So that is the London. D4, d5, bishop to f4. That is the start of the London system. What is the worst possible move you can make with black? It's actually not terrible, but it's harder to play. So you want to find practical chances. The worst move is knight c6. And it makes sense. You're blocking these pawns. You're supposed to be fighting for the center. Now you're attacking d4, but how do you mount more attackers into this square? There is no way. So funny enough, then what is the move that offers the best winning rates? c5. So c5, it looks good. You're fighting here for d4, and now white has to respond with e3. And you have this kind of extra tempo to develop your pieces. So white is gonna develop their pieces, and we just have a game. So it's nothing extraordinary, but at least it's equal. Next up, we have the Levitsky attack, which we still have d4 and d5. Next, we have bishop to g5. So this one is interesting because some people just pre-move this and they lose the queen. So yeah, that is, I'm not gonna consider that one, but it's still a possibility. Then the absolute best move in the position, as you can see it here, is to play f6. But I have seen some people overdo it. So I can retreat my bishop to h4, and then we get something like this. So here the computer approves for white. Computer says that it is almost 1 point of advantage for white. So because you're leaving all of this space behind. So the best move will be to put your knight here, and if the bishop retreats, you start attacking this bishop. But okay, it's fine. Now, what is the worst move you can actually make according to the statistics? Is to play bishop to g4. It's kind of strange because I actually don't see it as a bad move. And then maybe you can get something like this. You can retreat. It's almost like a mirror of this bishop as you're putting it on the same file. But okay, according to these statistics, you have less chances to win if you play bishop to g4. Okay, so what is the best move you can make? And not according to the computer, but according to the database that gives you a winning rate. Is going to be knight to d7. Knight to d7 is not a bad move. I don't love it, but yeah, you have ideas of playing c5, and yeah, life is good. So you can start bringing your other pieces, and you don't really have a risky opening. So you are equalizing here the position. That's why you have a winning rate of 48% for each color. I'm gonna do this from black's perspective. We have been considering d4 and d5, but instead of going d5, we can have other responses that are even more successful according to this database on Lichess. So we can play g6. g6 going for the modern defense, and now you're gonna get your king to safety, you fianchetto your bishop, then you bring the knight and castle. Also important to throw in this move of d6. But yeah, so this is going to be completely fine, playable, 48% for each color. Yeah, it's really good. There is another opening. Now, the other response you can get for black, instead of going, okay, so d4, instead of playing g6, first you play knight f6. This is the Indian defense. And you have a very similar ideas. It's not exactly the same because first the move order changes and that can change the game. But you still play g6, later you play d6, fianchetto the bishop and castle. So let me show you the moves here. And now you have an equal position. This is gonna be 48% of high success rate for both of you. Start by checking out e4 openings. So the most common popular response is going to be e5 with a 51% winning rate for white and 45% for black. Now, what is the absolute best move in the position? Knight f3. But what is the one that gives us the highest winning rate? f4. Yeah, this is surprising to me because f4, the king's gambit, is considered to be risky as you're opening this diagonal. But yeah, is the one that gives us the best chance to win with white. So what is going to be the best move for black in this position? Just to take this pawn. Or you can also play other moves such as d6. But the one that is gonna give you the best chances to win the game is going to be d5. d5 because it gives you options of developing quickly. So white might choose to take this pawn here, but that is not the best move. So the best move is just to get development as well. So now you can take this pawn on f4, then white is gonna take the pawn in the center, and you can start bringing your pieces out. Your knight, the bishop is also coming out. Now you have to block with the pawn. You block with c6. Now pawn takes on c6. You develop your knight, and see you have a slightly better development than white. So knight c3, bishop e6, and this bishop is also ready to get out, and this bishop is still stuck. So yeah, that is the best fighting chance you can have, which is going d5, d5 here. So after we get e4, e5, knight f3 will be the best option according to the engine. But there is other moves you can go for that are equally fine and they have exactly the same winning rate as knight f3. So you can also play bishop c4 and it's fine, or even d4, it will be completely fine too. After e4, e5, knight f3, what is the best move according to the winning race for black? f5, the Latvian gambit. This was a surprise to me because you're just giving up a pawn. With white, you can either take this pawn or this pawn, and you are up in material already. So it's a dubious choice, but I guess at lower levels, this might work. This might work for black. We know that the best move by far is to defend the pawn by developing the knight, knight c6. But another solid option, according to the winning rates, can be d5, ignoring the defense of this pawn and going for a counter is the elephant gambit. So yeah, but this is the best move, and now we can enter maybe the Spanish or maybe the Italian game with these two moves. So yeah, these are gonna be solid options for both colors. So let's explore what happens if we play bishop c4. There are different responses for black, very good ones. You can go knight f6. You can also play bishop to c5. That is completely fine. There might be a problem here. We're gonna check that in a sec. But the best winning rate is to play knight f6. Interesting, isn't it? So what is going to be the worst move according to the winning rates for black? Bishop to c5. And this is because of this line, the variation of the scholar has made. So some people play here knight f6, and this is GG. The other move that people play is g6. So they're falling for this. Now, like if you try to defend, now this rook is gone. So yeah, that is why this is a winning move. What you have to do here is put your queen here defending this pawn, and now let's say that that white goes knight f3. You can play d6 defending the pawn, and yeah, you start defending. It's a combination of attack and defense. So here you have different options. You can go here. Now you can play also g6. Yeah, but it's a little bit of knowing this theory of the scholar's mate, which is actually worse for white. It's not really winning for white, but I guess at this level, people fall for these traps. Yeah. What can be other responses other than e5? So you can also play c5, the Sicilian defense. This can be a highly theoretical opening, but it's gonna give you the best chances to win for black. So maybe at this level, you can learn, like practice with an engine, practice with a computer, and then you can go against humans. And c6, the Caro-Kann defense, is one of the most solid openings that is gonna give you a very good chance to win and at least draw the game. Next up, we have the English opening with c4. And here you have different responses with black that are equally good. So you can play c6, knight to f6, or g6. However, the absolute best option is to play e5. That is the most popular choice according to the engine. So what is the conclusion we can draw from this video? That the non-symmetrical options are gonna give you the best chances for black, right? So for example, e4, the symmetrical option is going to be e5. No, instead go for c5, the Sicilian, or c6, the Caro-Kann defense. The same thing happened with d4. So d5 gives you some chances, but a better chance is going to be maybe playing g6, the modern defense, or playing knight f6, the Indian defense. The second conclusion I draw from observing different games and the winning rates is that people at this level fall for traps, which is going to skewer the data. So maybe at higher levels, an opening such as the Scandinavian, for example, which is a dubious opening at top players, at top level. But here, yeah, it's completely playable. And yeah, there's no problem. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.